Now we will go to the Sicha of the Lubavitcher Rebbe in Chelik Aleph about the Chanuka. And if you remember, we learned that Chanuka is the only commandment in the Torah or the rabbis that has the option of mahadrin mina mahadrin. Mahadrin mina mahadrin. There, in every commandment, there is the main commandment, and then if you want to add money or make it special, you can do a hidur mitzvah. But there's no such thing as a hidur mitzvah. No such thing. It says that if you wanted, we gave the example a lot before. You buy a pair of tefillin, a good pair of tefillin you can buy. Let's say it costs $300, $400. You want to buy special tefillin, really good tefillin, mahadrin tefillin, $1,500. You want anything more that you want to spend for tefillin, right? You want to spend $20,000. You want to get the best. That's not mahadrin min mahadrin. That's just called, you're just you're being, how do you say, adding on to do a hidur mitzvah. But it's not mahadrin min mahadrin. It's no such thing. Mahadrin min mahadrin even says one place up to a third. There we go. But the mitzvah of Chanuka, there is what's called mahadrin mina mahadrin. The main mitzvah of Chanuka is to light one candle every night. And if you want to be mahadrin, then everybody in the family lights one light every night, same number. And mahadrin mina mahadrin means that you change the number of candles. According to the way we do it is you start off with one, and then you add on another one, and then another one, and another one. So the Rebbe says the same thing in serving God. There's three different levels of ways of serving God. One way of serving God is the Torah of the mitzvahs. Another way of serving God is through a hidur mitzvah. Another way of serving God is what's called self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice. In other words, self-sacrifice means that you have absolutely nothing to gain logically from it. You just want connection. You want to do what God says. Says that comes from this inner level of godliness, which says, Afal pi shachata Yisraelu. This is the level of a Jew, which even though that he sins, he is still a Jew. Excuse me. So that's the mahadrin sheba mahadrin in the soul of every Jew. Total self-sacrifice. According to this, now we can understand something in the mitzvah of Chanuka, which is an amazing thing, which is not found in any mitzvahs. All the mitzvahs of the Torah, Zayin and Ois Gestalt, all the other commandments of the Torah are in such a way, was his meglich, that it's possible that a non-Jew could Steren could oppose uniter lazin and not allow you to do the commandment. I feel the dry mitzvahs, even the three commandments, what it says that you're supposed to die rather than do. Gili araya shvichas dam in avoda zora. It says that any other commandment of a non-Jew or anybody comes up to your and puts it, but usually it's the non-Jews that did it. They say, if you do this, then we're going to kill you. Right? Then you don't do the commandment. You don't do the commandment. Or they say, eat this not kosher food, or we're going to kill you. Then you eat the not kosher food. There are some cases if it's a time of Shmat, there are exceptions, but that's the rule. A non-Jew comes up to you and says, defile Shabbos, or I'll kill you. So you defile Shabbos. That's the law. That's the law. You defile Shabbos. That as a Jew is even obligated, that a Jew is obligated to, even these 3 commandments that a Jew is obligated to give his life for them, ken doch der Nachri nit haben kein Shlita und mevatel machen the drei mitzvahs. A non-Jew says cannot stop a Jew, cannot force a Jew. A Jew is supposed to, these 3 mitzvahs, a non-Jew puts a gun to your head and says either kill this Jew or I'll kill you, is you have to say, I'm not going to kill the other person. If he says have relations with this married lady or I'll kill you, you're supposed to say I'm not going to have relations, you can kill me. If he says bow down to this idol or I'll kill you, you're supposed to kill me. The goy can aber milchama haben, but a non-Jew can have a war against doing these commandments. And if the Jew doesn't want wer nit mispoil und is moser nafesh zoi, and if a Jew says, okay, then kill me, is doch nit euch der kiyum mitzvah, then the mitzvah is not done, right? A non-Jew comes and says, let's say there's also a lot of mitzvahs which in the time of, let's say, a decree of the non-Jews, they say we're decreeing that we want all the Jews to be like us. So then it says that even if it says, the eat milk and meat together, right? Do a rabbinical transgression. You're supposed to say, I'm not going to do it because it's a big chilul Hashem. I'm not going to do it. Okay, so then if you say you refuse, you defy, and you get killed, then the mitzvah is not done. That's it. He says, don't put on tefillin or I'm going to kill you. And he puts on tefillin, right? Tries to put on, he gets killed. Or even these 3. Let's say he says, have relations with this married lady. I'm not going to do it. You get killed. If so, it ends up, there's no more Jew. The commandment cannot be done. Andrish is the mitzvah of it different from the Chanuka. So welche der nit id, a non-Jew has he cannot, how do you say, tread there at all. To negate it. Why? Varem afilu in a tzait, even the time when there's a decree of Shmad, like I said before, it's a time when the non-Jews say that no Jew can do any commandment. A Jew that does any commandment whatsoever, right, will get killed. We want all the Jews to change the religion. Can der goy nit steren? He cannot prevent the doing of this commandment. Why not? While in a zoit site, in such a time, when there was the light of Chanuka, as der Yid stellt avek, der ner Chanukah oifen tish, when the Jew, it says the Jew, when there's a time of danger, the Jew can take the commandment and put it on his table, inside of his house. Where the Lashon of Gemara is, manich al shulchan v'dayu. He doesn't, the main commandment is supposed to advertise it. What if there's non-Jews, so you don't advertise it? It says you put it on your table. In other words, you do the commandment, under nachri vetim nit stellen. It's the only commandment where it says clearly there's a teaching that if anyone tries to stop you from doing the commandment, then do it in a concealed way where nobody's going to see you. It's part of the commandment. All the others, there's no part of the commandment like that. It doesn't say that if someone tries to stop you from putting on tefillin, then go into your basement and put it on in their basement. It says if somebody tries to stop you from putting on tefillin, threatens your life, then don't put them on. That's what it says. Don't put on tefillin. Here it says that if someone threatens your life with Neros Chanukah, so you say, okay, I won't do it. Good. And then you go into it says that it's a law. Go into your house and put it in a place where they won't see you. Is there beer? The explanation is Viga red free, like we said before. Well, the mitzvah, because the mitzvahs of the lights of Hanukkah, beveist, this indicates on the attachment of the essence of the Jewish soul to God. With the essence of God is as a zoy ort, it's such a place, was kein chet, which no sin can touch. So automatically can dort, there cannot be the Indian from Galus exile. Was wird far or zachen durch achet, which can be concealed or lessened by means of a sin. It says because of sins we were driven out of our land. And therefore can keine the mitzvahs from Ner Chanukah nit mevatel sein. Therefore, even though there's sins and we've been driven out of our land of Israel and there's no holy temple, but the lights of Chanukah still exist. And it's a very interesting thing. Like the Rebbe said, we see even non-religious Jews, even anti-religious Jews, even Jews sometimes that are totally ignorant of Judaism, but Chanukah candles they light. They light Chanukah candles. It's very interesting. And not only do they light Chanukah candles, but they do not just the bones of the commandment, just the minimum. They do the maximum of the commandment. Every Jew does mahadrin min mahadrin. A goy can, and the amazing thing is, where did this come from? In the time of Chanukah, 99.9% of the Jews, they went with the Greeks. You weren't with us. We learned on last Friday, that the Rebbe has, he learns out from the blessing that we make, the additional paragraph that we put in, ala nisim, ala purka, and balagur, that 99 whatever percent of the Jews were with the Greeks. And that was the big miracle. The big miracle was that even though apparently the Jews really did not deserve a miracle in any way, and they didn't even want a miracle. They didn't want it. They just wanted to be left alone and to live like the Greeks and to live a normal life. 99.9% of the Jews. And they have every logical reason to do so. The Greeks were not such terrible, monsters. They weren't like the Romans or the Babylonians. They destroyed the temple. They didn't destroy anything. And they were very cultured people, and the Jews loved it. Art, with music, with this. They had the things that Jews didn't have, before, plays and science, philosophies, and everybody was, enjoying themselves, having a good time, do whatever you want. The Jews loved it. And they had every reason to love it. Why not? And came a handful of Jews said, good, you want to like these things, okay, but you can't forget about Judaism. Said, leave us alone, get out of here, go back to the synagogue or somewhere. We're having a good time. And this handful of Jews, they made a war against the Greeks and they won. They won. The fanatics, the weirdos, calling them fanatics is not a good word. A fanatic is not really a good term. Especially, Professor Viktor Frankl, he describes a fanatic, it's like a disease. A fanatic is a person that can't stand anyone else's opinion. He can't listen to anyone else's opinion. These 13 Jews, they understood everybody's opinion. They appreciated everybody's opinion. Nobody appreciated their opinion. That's the problem. All the rest of the Jews, they were the fanatics. They couldn't stand the Jewish way of looking at the world. Therefore, this aspect of the lights, a goy can mer nit vi ois a rois geben a gezerah, a non-Jew, he can make a decree to stop learning Torah, to stop the commandments, nit dar lazen, and not allow that the light of the Chanukkah should light outside. Okay, but there's a special clause in this commandment that if the non-Jews stop you from lighting the candle in the way it's supposed to be, that it shines outside, then you can light it inside. But the etzim, because the essence of the light of Chanukah No one can touch this. The essence light of the Jewish people, no one can touch. And that's why nowadays, even those Jews that back then would have joined in with the Greeks, and they're trying now to join in with the Greeks, but when it comes to Chanuka, all of a sudden they light 8 candles, right? Which shows that was the big miracle back then. God totally did not look at the non-religious Jews. He didn't punish them. He didn't get angry at them. He didn't pay any attention to them whatsoever. He only paid attention to the light. These 13 Jews that started off, God said, oh, I see there's Jews. The Jews are okay. That's the inside point of the Jew, which is in every single Jew, without any exception. Namely, the awareness of the goodness of the Creator. And that's what the Jewish people are chosen for. We're the chosen people. We're God's chosen people. We're chosen to tell all of the nations how much God loves them, and that He's creating them, and that He protects them, and He provides for them. That God does good to everybody, and He prepares food for all of His creations that He makes. Al derech v'mehat, like we explained, but it all comes from the Jewish people doing the commandments. That's the connector. That's the plug that plugs the world into godliness. That's in a way, the main one is the 8 prongs of the Chanuka menorah. Like the Ramban explains that the lights of Chanuka eino b'telin l'olam. They're never negated forever. It says that Aaron, when he saw, that's this week's, you read at the end, Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach. We read Balotcha in the end. That Aaron, when he saw all of the other tribes bringing their offerings to the tabernacle, so he felt very bad. There's 12 tribes, but the Levites, Cohens are just Levites. The Levites were not part of the 12 tribes. Yosef was divided into 2 tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh. So it ended up there were 12 tribes. 12 tribes, they all brought offerings to the inauguration of the temple, to the tabernacle in the desert, and Aaron didn't bring anything. So he felt really bad. So God said, don't worry about it. What you're going to bring is going to be eternal. It's going to be greater than theirs. What did they bring? They brought sacrifices. You're going to bring the candles. He says, what do you mean? The candles, the temple was destroyed. 7 candles. He says, no, the candles will continue with the candles of Chanuka. It says, Neros Chanuka enam b'telin l'olam. The lights of Chanuka will never stop. And it'll be lit in every single house. Zeirin nit an the ganzen Helem. They are not affected at all by all the concealment and the confusion of Galus, of the exile. Or the Welt Bechlal, or the world at all. Exactly the opposite. They illuminate the world. And that's what we do when we light the lights of Hanukkah. We connect the essence of the Jewish soul with the essence of the world to the external of the world, that the world becomes illuminated. And that's the whole idea of the Mashiach. Mashiach will illuminate the whole entire world with the goodness of Hashem. Oh, here's the Yom Yom. Oh, I didn't find it. It was right in front of my eyes. Let's do the Yom Yom. Here we have. I think yesterday, today is Chaf Gimel, right? Yes, today is Chaf Gimel. Sorry, I lost track of all time. We had a very nice Verbringen last night. It is not only Chaf Gimel, Chaf Ches. Chaf Ches. Chaf Dal is okay. Chaf Ches. So yesterday was okay. Here we go. Chaf Ches. Let's do Ches. The 5th Rebbe of Chabad, the Rebbe Rashab, he would light lights of Chanukah between Mincha and Ma'ariv. That's what a lot of the Chabadniks do. He wouldn't care if the lights were facing east or west, whichever the ways they're fitting. The Nero Halalu, he would say after he lit the candles, he would sit next to the lights and watch them for about a half an hour, except on Motzi Shabbos No, except from, okay, Erev Shabbos, then he wouldn't sit by the lights, by the lights. He wouldn't watch the lights. But you have to try to be careful that the lights light 50 minutes altogether. The lights should be lit 50 minutes. That's today's Yom Yom. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow, be with us. Today, there will be a class, 3 o'clock. Please be with us, 3 o'clock. We're going to learn Chumash, the Chumash, and we'll see, maybe we'll learn. Yesterday, we learned a little bit from the Megillah, from the Mishnah of Megillah. So we'll continue that, God willing, today. Have a good day, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you for coming. Bring your friends also. Chanuka Sameach with Mashiach now.